Hello everyone, this is Asad. Thank you for following me. Today we'll be attending a PAC meeting, that is a professional advisory committee for the Unitek Nursing College, and look forward to doing the visit of the institution, and let's learn some more.
My name is Stacy Giamona. I serve as Dean of the Unitek College Concord Campus Bachelor of Science Nursing Program. And I've been with Unitek now, I just hit 6 years. I initially came in with 22 years of med-surg oncology experience. I joined the BSN program after teaching in the LVN program. And my passion for teaching continued on. I became the NCLEX Success Specialist and worked with each and every student throughout the trajectory of the program. Got the Concord campus to a 100% NCLEX pass rate on the first try. And then in November of 24, I then got promoted to Dean, and I wanted to ensure that the pass rate continued excelling above 90%. So we had Jenna Park join, and I trained her all of my tricks of the trade, and she has continued on working with each student the same exact way, and getting students to get their green light status on ATI prior to taking the NCLEX. And right now we're standing at a 95.2 overall percent pass rate currently.
So quarter one, January through March, 27 students tested and 25 have passed on their first attempt. So we are at 92.59%. Quarter two, April to June, 34 students passed out of 37, so we are at 91.89. Quarter three, this is an unofficial result just because the quarter ended yesterday, the reports aren't out. These are just my numbers, which I think are pretty accurate. So 21 students have tested out of 22, so we are at 95.45.
What's nice about the online system is that we have a writing lab. I always like to emphasize the use of this because with APA format, BSN, MSN doctor programs, gotta have a good idea of how that works. So we have our writing lab that I always encourage students to submit rough drafts of their papers for a professional to look at it and give their feedback, and that way they're not just waiting for the instructor, and they can make changes and get input from somebody, and so enhancing their learning and writing capability. We have to involve faculty, making sure that everybody is helping the students. It's a group effort, and it's communicating, making sure we're supporting the students. So I have always instilled an open door policy, and I expect faculty to have open office hours because we need to support our students. And when the students see that faculty, staff, administration are all working together, they know that we have their best interest, and they feel that support, and that really boosts their thought that I can really do this.
We're in our simulation lab here, so this is our debriefing area to my left. This is where our students come in for their rotation for simulations. It's about 2 hours, sometimes 3-hour rotations, but they'll come here, get a pre-brief, get an update on the case that they're going to learn. We'd like to point out the objectives for that specific case, so you know what they know to focus on. They'll come in here, get the pre-brief. We'll give a little handoff report, either like my partner Daniel here as a doctor or EMT, whatever the scenario calls for. It might be inter-facility, but inter-unit, so nurse to nurse. With that passed down, they'll get the information, you know, the last set of vitals, things like that, and then they'll start their assessment and roll them. You know, we'll answer those questions appropriately. If you have a young patient and you ask them a silly question, and do you know what time it is today? And they'll say yes, instead of giving you an appropriate answer, right? So we try to do real-world responses. The mental health section, if we're using a mannequin or the simulation mannequin for that, we'll just try to have those appropriate conversations and answers.
Say if they got a CBC, a BMP, and they throw this lab, and they said, we drew labs. This is our EHR system. It's one of the things that we built out for our program. Each of our mannequins and simulations has its own profile built. So it's not like you can log on, see another group has seen that or done that profile. They're responsible for doing all the work on the patient. So they can go in here, they can look up summaries, they can look at the, if I go in here, I can look up what's going on with this patient by looking at the physician notes. So I'll go down here, I can look at my physician notes. It gives me all the information about this patient. They're going to get a handoff report before they even start, but if they forget something, they get back to their provider notes, get that information. It's just like an EHR set or just like any other electronic health record system. They'll go in, they can look up just, what have my trending vitals been, any allergies, any labs that have been pulled. Again, this is a live document, so when they pull phlebotomy, so they get their CBC, BMP, anything that they pull and they run, it'll automatically update into this system. We're in the other control room, we're actually piloting everything. So when they say, I pulled this lab, we can drop it down and add more labs, so it's instantaneous. This is kind of our pharmacy stock. So we will pull these medications for our simulation lab. So if we need any kind of medication that goes along with our simulation, we pull it from this stock. We don't usually have students come in here, but this kind of gives you an overview of kind of the medications that we use for our simulations. So everything from IV medication, push doses, to PO medications. We even have sedation and code medications in here. So it's kind of our stock pharmacy right here.
So we start initially within the second year of the program. We have career services, be involved with them. I have them come speak to the students in their cohorts, and that way we can also start getting them familiar with any nurse residency, new graduate programs, any organizations that are going to be hiring. We want that research to start sooner rather than later, because that way we want to see them have employment with their RN within closely a month after getting their RN licensure. So making sure that they have good resumes, making sure they have strong interview skills, because that can be tough for a lot of students. And so we give them a lot of practice questions, but really making sure that we help them. We have career services externship advisor who will follow up with them for verification of employment. They also will email graduates with job postings that they hear from anywhere here in the Bay Area all the way down to Central California, because our students live everywhere. So making sure that we have job prospects ready to go for them. And that's why I also tell them, when you go to clinicals, it's an interview every day.
Thank you.